asked me to say a few words about a mother, I had to mentally take a backward trip into in time when I was myself an adolescent. I was in awe of all these jeunes filles around Frida, meaning her sisters and her cousins. She was what you call then une étudiante preparing for the French baccalaureate. That was the rigueur during that time in Haiti. She was at the Lycée des Jeunes Filles, one of the best non-religious schools for girls. One day, my father asked Frida to walk with me to a new school that was close to the Lycée des Jeunes Filles. There was a big stair. She knew that I used to school and go. And go sit down on a little square. So she stood in front of the school and said, I'm waiting for you, go. There was a big stair and we believed that I was going up, and she left and I went down and went straight to the slash me, which is a long distance from the school. I never set foot in that school until I went to a serious school. Where was I? Okay. Frida had a very good sense of justice, which I really liked about her. But she was not a confrontational person, not at all. She would verbally slice an enemy in words only. That was all she would say. After a baccalaureate, she went on to study nursing as well known in Canada. One aspect of her personality that was very strong and one that everyone admired about her was that she carried her brother and her sisters on her shoulders, so to speak. Being the one who left Haiti first, she knew that she had to pave the way for the entire family. That was her way to honor the sacrifices that her mother had made for them all. As soon as she graduated from nursing school, she came back to Haiti, got married to Dominique's father, Dr. Marcelin Hill, and they went to Africa, to Liberia, to work for the government. She was on a mission. Pretty soon, Frida had the entire family in Africa, in Liberia, working. And then in New York, I don't care who you are, none of you here today won't be exactly where you are right now if it weren't for your Tati Frida. Myself included. I have largely profited of her generosity in gifts and money whenever I came to New York. She would invite me for a weekend, take me to restaurants, and give me money to go back to Haiti. Fast forward, as a mother, Frida lived for her two children, Dominique and Maxime, her Domi and her Max, as she used to call them. She worked very hard, made sacrifices for them. And it was not easy after she became a divorced mother. Working 12-hour shifts in hospital, then moonlighting in nursing homes. I remember Dominique's graduation, for example, the lavish dinner she offered. She was so very poor then. She went all the way in supporting her two children. She gave the most lavish reception at Dominique's wedding. Then her life was totally dedicated to her Max now, until she left Dominique and went to live with Maxime in Haiti. First, then in the Dominican Republic. She had this incredible fortune to live a life full of blessings and exceptional care with the help of Cathy, Maxime's partner. In my opinion, Frida was very well rewarded at the end of her life with the exceptional luxury of living away from a nursing home. I, for one, consider it an immense benefit. She died surrounded with love after she lived without a care in the world in a certain way. She knew and adored her grandchildren, which is also a big plus. I said earlier that Frida was not one to confront her enemies, but she could have other people in her mind take the fight for her, go to war for her. If you owe her money, be prepared to pay on the first phone call. Suddenly, an anonymous friend of hers would detail all your dirty laundries, and she would say, "Not me, Tifisa, no?" How does she know that? It's an imagination, but let's go to something more. In closing, I would like to take this opportunity to pay final homage to this generation of the Cantab family that has forever gone with the passing of the last of them, Frida. I will start by paying homage to their mother, Madame Octavie Bernard Montavi, or Mondayi, as my son used to call her, for her children, or simply Tavi, as Michelle used to call her, and Tante Tavi for everybody else. She was left raising her children after being widowed at a very young age. Of course, not without the help. Of course, without the help of her mother, but not without difficulties. But she managed, and by looking at the descendants, all here, we can safely say that she indeed succeeded beyond expectations. I remember one Sunday evening, on a visit at her house, we found her standing behind the gate, main à la mâchoire, so to speak, with an expression of stress strong enough to predict an imminent panic. What happened then? The reason was that Marie Solange, her youngest daughter, was on a date with her then boyfriend, Mr. Antoine Dubois. They went to a movie, to a little neighborhood movie theater, just walking distance from the house. After a little while, Tavi was able to, at last, have a better expression on her face as Antoine and Marie Solange walked in. Marie Solange herself has a very strong sense of humor. She said to her mom, "Montavi, qui ça vous comprendre qui passait dans le cinéma Eldorado?" Afin que tout le monde s'aille, on va toute lumière s'aille dans le place Jérémy. So, that same Marie Solange, years later, when I was spending a weekend at her place with Eleonora, who was 2.5 years old, and Sophie, probably 5, went to ice skating lessons. So we were watching from the balcony and talking about life in general when the conversation turned into our children's future, particularly in this United States, where the sky is the limit. Well, we all know now that that limit is not as far. It's far to be as high as the sky. I projected then that anything will be possible for those kids, even Hollywood. My sons look at me right away and intervene. Hollywood, please. I'm not so crazy about Hollywood. Because in Hollywood, by the time you get to the top, forget about the bottom. I exploded with laughter. Where does she find those cutting-edge thoughts? Only God knows. They all had a sharp tongue. There is this story about Tode. When she was a kid, she went to the preparatory school. That tête écrite, tout c'est Madame Guéry, tête d'école là. Madame Guéry.
Pélissier.
Non, c'est tout André avec Léa, c'est dans l'école, c'est pas Madame Guéry. Mais anyway, Guéry ou Pélissier. And with her cousin Léa Pierlis. So they were supposed to spend the entire day wait for the PM session and it's in school. But there was, by 12 probably or 11:30, there was something happening. And today I probably punched somebody who disrespected her and they called for Madame Jerry. And she was a very mean disciplinarian who would not hesitate to use corporal punishment on a student. And today, look at Madame, what's her name? Madame Guéry with an air. And she told her, qui est-ce qu'on parle pas là? C'est pas mon parle pas. Léa, en allez. And she walked out of the school. She had to go to another school. This is today for you. Yeah. Léa, en allez, and she walked away. I also remember one particular weekend about Frida, when I was living in New Jersey. Pharaoh was with me for a moment, and also another Frida, who that Frida knew in school, but this one was very pessimistic. So the conversation took the turn toward the situation in Haiti. We are talking circa 1988, 1989, when Haiti was half the paradise it used to be, but still way better than what it is today. The question was, qui problème haïtien yo gagne même? Frérot Rémi gave his opinion. Moi, je crois qu'il faudrait laver le sang de tous les Haïtiens, parce que ce sang est trop fort. Si j'étais président, j'aurais ouvert une vanne. Tout le monde qui veut partir, je les laisse partir. Mais pour revenir au pays, nous avons la troisième génération. Ce sang serait bien lavé. Désolé, maintenant, désolé, leur nom doit descendre. C'est une façon de conduire en Haïti. Jusqu'à la troisième génération, je ne vais aucun d'entre eux ne pouvait rentrer ou retourner au pays. L'autre Frida went ahead. Haïtien pas bon, on est nature petite. Yo voleur, yo violeur, yo calomnieur, yo malfaiteur, tout ça pas bon. Si menti, tu mentis. Fourrier complet. Comme Frida Hill, who suddenly retorted with a question to which she also gave the answer. Quote, Maud, she asked, ou même qui étudie la médecine, sans penser de l'évolution. On dit que l'homme dérive du singe. Pas que l'évolution haïtienne est dans le route. With a special brand of laughter that was always interrupted. To finish, I will say a word about life, death and the eternity of life. Le philosophe japonais Daisaku Ikeda écrit ceci au sujet de la mort. La mort physique n'est pas un point final, mais une simple transformation des facteurs et des fonctions qui constituent et soutiennent collectivement une vie individuelle. La vie est ininterrompue et s'étend du passé infini jusqu'au futur infini. Selon le président Ikeda, le bouddhisme en particulier considère que les joies et les peines de la vie actuelle sont les résultats des causes accumulées durant les vies antérieures. Les causes accumulées durant la vie présente sont les facteurs qui détermineront les vies futures à travers l'éternité. André, Frida, Michel et Marie-Solange, je crois, ainsi que leurs parents, seront toujours ensemble avec leur descendance. Vie après vie, sous d'autres formes bien sûr, avec des missions différentes, car l'amour et les trésors du cœur ne peuvent jamais être détruits. Merci. Nous disons adieu à Frida et nous te souhaitons bon transit et welcome to Eagle Creek. Merci. Les Haïtiens, désolé. Yes.
Thank you.